Hello, my name is Nicole Wall. I'm a licensed insurance broker and owner of Holton Insurance. The Medicare Scholar Program is designed to give educational content about different Medicare topics throughout the year. Today we will be learning about 2024 Part D basics. Before Medicare Part D was signed into law in 2003 and launched in 2006, Medicare beneficiaries had very few options to help cover the costs of their prescription medications, which were rapidly rising during that time. These options are group or union coverage, retiree coverage, Medicare Supplement Plan J, which only offered catastrophic coverage, and self-insure plans. Today, 77% of all Medicare beneficiaries are enrolled in a Part D plan. Medicare Part D is a voluntary benefit, meaning that individuals that qualify, must have either Part A or Part B, do not have to enroll into it. It's only offered through private insurance companies and is available as either a standalone plan, or PDP, or combined with a Medicare Advantage plan, often referred to as MAPD, or Medicare Advantage Prescription Drug. Benefits for both Part D plans change each calendar year and provide coverage for both generic and brand name medications. Beneficiaries can only enroll or change plans during a valid enrollment period. Initial enrollment period begins 3 months before, the month of, and 3 months after their Part A or Part B start date, whichever comes first. The second is the annual enrollment period, October 15th through December 7th each year. Benefits start the following January 1st. And lastly, the special election period. These are specific situations that can happen throughout the year and usually tied to a change in their current benefits. Some of the most common SEPs for Part D coverage include loss of group coverage, loss of credible coverage, which is prescription coverage that's at least as good as Part D coverage, change of residence, and qualifying for extra help. Premiums can vary widely for Part D coverage, depending on whether the beneficiary has a standalone Part D plan or a combined MAPD plan. All standalone Part D plans will have a monthly premium and will vary by carrier and state, and some MAPD plans offer coverage for a $0 monthly premium. All PDP and MAPD plans will offer 3 methods to pay for premiums, including automatic monthly bank draft from a checking or savings account, a monthly coupon book, or SSA deduction. Note, if a beneficiary elects to have their premium from their Social Security check, they may be required to pay the first 1 to 2 months premium directly to the carrier, as there can be a delay in processing. Even though Part D is a voluntary benefit, if there is a delay in coverage from when they are first eligible to sign up, they could be assessed a late enrollment penalty, or LEP. The LEP is calculated using the National Base Beneficiary Premium and will permanently be attached to the beneficiary's Part D coverage, regardless of whether they have a PDP or MAPD plan. For each month after their IEP has ended that there's a break in coverage of 63 or more days in a row, they will be penalized 1%. The National Base Beneficiary Premium for 2024 is $34.70. For example, if a client went 20 months after their IEP without credible prescription drug coverage, the math would be $34.70 times 20%, which would equal $6.94. This will be added to their premium each month. Examples of credible coverage include employer union group coverage, retiree coverage, VA coverage, and state pharmaceutical assistance programs. Each year, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, releases a standard benefit for insurance companies to build their plans around. In the standard benefit, there are 4 coverage stages: deductible, initial coverage limit, coverage gap, also known as a donut hole, and catastrophic coverage. The yearly deductible is the amount that a beneficiary must pay out of their pocket before the plan starts to pay their share for covered medications. Deductibles can vary between plans, with some plans having no deductible or limiting the deductible only to specific drug tiers. No plan may have a deductible more than $545 in 2024. The initial coverage limit, or ICL, is a combination of what is spent by the beneficiary and the plan for covered medications. This amount is $5,030 in 2024. The ICL is important because it will determine if the beneficiary will pay for their copay or coinsurance for their monthly prescriptions during the year, or if they will enter the donut hole where coverage changes. Essentially, you can consider the ICL to be the total retail cost of the beneficiary's medications. For example, if a beneficiary spent $800 in copays during the ICL and the plan spent $4,230, totaling $5,030, and now the client enters the coverage gap with only $800 in out-of-pocket spending. Covered medications will fall into tiers to determine your copay or coinsurance. Tier 1 will have the lowest copay and include most generic drugs. Tier 2, a medium copay, and will have some higher cost generic and brand name drugs. Tier 3 will have a high copay or coinsurance and include most brand name drugs. And tiers 4 and 5 will have the highest coinsurance and will include very high cost or specialty drugs. Once the beneficiary and the plan have spent $5,030 on covered drugs, they move into the coverage gap, also known as a donut hole. During the coverage gap, they will pay no more than 25% of the retail cost of their covered medications and will pay those amount until they have spent $8,000 in out-of-pocket costs. Based on our previous example, the beneficiary has already satisfied $800 of that cost during their initial coverage limit, so they would need to spend another $7,200 to move on to the catastrophic coverage stage. During the coverage gap, the amount beneficiaries pay for their medications, the 25%, and the discount they're receiving on brand name drugs, 75%, will count toward their $8,000 limit. For example, a beneficiary is in the donut hole and has a brand name medication that retails for $100. At the pharmacy counter, they are only spending $25 out of their pocket, but $100 is going towards the $8,000 limit. On the other hand, their $10 retail cost generic is costing $2.50 at the pharmacy, but only $2.50 is going toward the $8,000 limit. Items that count toward the $8,000 out-of-pocket include the yearly deductible, copays and coinsurances, the discount you get on brand name drugs in the coverage gap, 75%, and what you pay for covered drugs, 25%, in the coverage gap. If the beneficiary has reached $8,000 in out-of-pocket costs, they enter the final stage of their plan, which is catastrophic coverage, and will remain there until the end of the calendar year. During the catastrophic coverage phase, beneficiaries will pay nothing for their covered medications. This is new for 2024. Each Part D plan has a list of covered medications called a formulary. This list will include both brand name and generic medications and must cover at least 2 options for every therapeutic class of drugs. In order for a beneficiary's prescriptions to be covered under their plan, those prescriptions must be included on the plan-specific formulary. In the event a beneficiary is prescribed a medication that is not on their plan's formulary, they can request a formulary exception to have the drug covered under their plan. If there's a medication at a higher tier and is unaffordable for the beneficiary, they can request that drug to be moved to a lower tier by requesting a tier reduction. Both of these requests are handled on a case-by-case basis, and any exception or reduction would be for the individual beneficiary only. Each Part D plan will have its own network of participating pharmacies that plan members must utilize in order to have their prescriptions covered. Some plans utilize a preferred pharmacy network, meaning specific locations in the plan's directory may offer covered prescriptions at a lower copay or coinsurance. Unless it's an emergency situation, prescriptions that are filled at a non-network pharmacy will not be covered. Also, plans offer the option to have medications delivered through a mail order pharmacy. Extra Help, also known as Low Income Subsidy, or LIS, is a benefit provided by Social Security for Medicare beneficiaries with limited income and resources. For qualified beneficiaries, Extra Help will provide financial assistance with their Part D plan, including monthly premium, late enrollment penalties if applicable, annual deductibles if applicable, co-pays and co-insurances, and coverage gap. Beneficiaries should reach out to their local Social Security office for more information and to apply, or can apply online through www.ssa.gov/prescription help. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. If you would like to have a free Medicare Scholar presentation at your local senior center, VFW, lodge, or other activity group, let us know and we would love to set something up with you. There is a one-page summary about this topic in PDF format you can access by clicking on the link in the description below. Lastly, keep a lookout for our next presentation.